voting maybe later in the day, after work type of a thing. I'm not quite sure how late all the polls are staying open. I'm sure it varies from state to state and whatnot. But if you are voting a little bit later, then you will have some better weather. Let's have a look now. And by the way, once you get in line, they have to let you vote. So remember that once you get in line. Right now, if you're heading out, I know today is the last day for early voting in a lot of places. I know Georgia, this is the last day of early voting. There were some weekends, but today's the last day. It's not going to carry on into the weekend as they probably prepare for Tuesday. Very warm out there, very mild out there, with Chicago finally feeling some cooler temperatures. That cool air will eventually get into the Northeast, but not today. We're talking more record-setting warmth potentially for us along I-95. And we will see not only record-setting temperatures, but record-smashing temperatures. Bridgeport, Connecticut, 6 degrees is what we could smash a record that was only set in 2019. That's it. That's not very long ago. This is more what we look for, 30, 40, year old records getting broken by a degree or two. But with the warming climate and the changing climate, then that's going to make things a lot different for us. There's the cool air below average for a minute. And as Jim's been mentioning all morning, it's the fact that we have this heat for an extended period in the Northeast, the Midwest, and the South too. The records continue tomorrow as we go into next week. We just can't shake it because we have this ridge that is sticking with us and building back in, and you've got our next trough coming in, so southerly flow ahead of that. You got the warmth with the ridge, you got high pressure along the East Coast, 15 to 25 degrees above average. So it's going to be hot, more record-setting temperatures for us as we head into our Monday, Jim, here. And of course, we have that severe weather threat over the weekend, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But the tropics are still hot, if you will.
Can you believe we got 5 circles out there we're watching in between?
Conditions are impacting every state in the lower 48. But we have a very active pattern as we head into the weekend and into the next week. Severe weather and a serious flood risk for the central states. Jim.
Yeah, drought to deluge in a lot of areas here. By the way,
because all 48 states in the lower 48 have some form of drought, and it is the most in drought monitor history. 87.2% of the lower 48 are at least abnormally dry, which is D0, which is the lightest color that you see, this yellow here on the map, and that is a record. So we could use this rain, just maybe not all at once. We don't have a choice. That same low-level jet that Jim was talking about is going to help pull moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. We also have high pressure. That's bringing in moisture. We also have jet energy. That's going to help amp things up here when it comes to rainfall. And so all of these come together really as we head into our Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday timeframe. And they're going to shift a little bit as we go over time. They're going to keep pushing east. But today through Monday, you could see a very wide swath of 3 to 5 and a large swath as well of 5 to 8 inches. And you could get 2 or 3 inches in an hour, and that's going to cause flash flooding. Because we're going to get that rain starting today and then into tomorrow, Sunday into Monday is our best chance for some of that flooding because you have a couple days adding up that will cause that flash flooding. Monday, it shifts a little bit into Arkansas and into parts of the Great Lakes. And notice Saturday. So Saturday mornings into western Texas, but you're still getting that whole moisture flow coming up. By the afternoon, it's spreading over the plains and then into Sunday, blanketing much of the central U.S. And you see the influence of that next trough coming in. It's got snow in the 4 corners. That ramps things up as we head into our Sunday, Monday. So there's a lot of dynamics going on from the surface all the way up into the upper levels of the atmosphere. That could wring out 5 to 6 inches of rain in a short amount of time. That's going to cause flooding. You want to turn around, don't drown. And the good thing is some of that heavier rain is going to go over where we have extreme drought. Now, we still need it where we have exceptional drought into Texas, portions of the West, and into the Northeast. But there are a lot of us that are going to get some decent rainfall in it here over the next week.
Yeah, I wish I could kind of just pull up that green further off to the north and east.
Right? It was just yesterday,
I know.
wasn't it?
Let's don't think about that.
It was just yesterday.
Yeah, it was just yesterday. I know. Oh, gosh.
Okay.
Breathe.
It's hard to breathe out there with all this heat, you know? I mean, it's been so warm in the Northeast, including Boston, where this is going to be close to record setting. So that will be a big deal. Our average high is 55. We get some cooler air coming in with the system that caused the severe weather Jim was talking about. That will pull in some cooler air through the beginning of next week. But then we pop right back up again into the mid 70s for our Wednesday forecast. It's not just Boston. We are also feeling that warmth throughout much of New England in the Northeast. It stays along the I-95 corridor today. I want to point out that Dallas is at 62 and Boston is at 65 right now. Isn't that crazy? We've gotten some of that cooler air down into Dallas, not necessarily into New England. It comes tomorrow, but we still are going to see the 70s and 80s as we work our way down the East Coast for us. The Midwest, we have the relief today. We'll have it tomorrow. Notice that Bridgeport, Connecticut, we could crush a record from 2019 by 6 degrees. That is major. There's Boston tying a record, again, from 50 years ago, 1974. And the same goes for Long Island, New York, 1982. There's your cooler air, 50s into Boston for our highs, while we hold on to those 80s into the south. Dallas isn't that terrible. 77, quite nice in Dallas, right? Could be a lot warmer there. But tomorrow, we are going to be near record setting when it comes to our temperature. So that just tells you how warm it's going to be. Even if we don't break a record, the fact that you're going to be 1 or 2 degrees off tells you how warm it's going to be. Big ridging happening in the east, southerly flow at the surface. That brings us, as we head into next week, 15 to 25 degrees above average. And again, record setting potentially. And look at Louisiana, Shreveport, 2017. That's not that long ago, Jim, that we could break a record here.
Isn't that nuts?
Nuts.
This has gone on and
So
on.
if you're walking, you know, a lot of the leaves down.
Yeah.
By the way, Jordan is on his way to Asheville right now. He'll be live tomorrow morning to give you an update on the recovery efforts there. And he'll also bring back several stories for us to show to you as we head into next week. Asheville, we are still standing strong with you and thinking about you. How about Election Day? It's on Tuesday. If you're printing out that sample ballot, it might get a little soggy from the Great Lakes down into the south. Don't forget your sunglasses if you have to stand in line. There is like record early voter turnout in a lot of places. So it'll be interesting to see if lines are still long on Tuesday. I know some people like to vote right on Election Day. So there will still be plenty of people. Last day for early voting is, I know at least in Georgia, is today, and probably in several other states too as they get ready for next week. The Northeast, it's all sunshine. In fact, it's hot. It's November and we're talking 71 in Boston. Our average high is 57 degrees. So we are well above average here. Pennsylvania, a lot of eyes are on this state to see which way it will go. Lots of sunshine for us here. Maybe a few showers getting into places like Erie, Pennsylvania into the later hours of voting. If you're heading maybe after work, you might have to bring some rain gear with you. You'll definitely need the rain gear here throughout the Midwest, Wisconsin, Michigan, 2 states. There's a lot of eyes focused on that as well. It's going to be essentially an all-day kind of crummy weather day for us. You get a little bit better from west to north in the afternoon, but it's just kind of chilly and wet and really, really tough. In the southeast, North Carolina, of course, a lot of eyes on that state too. Georgia, a lot of eyes on Georgia too. As we go through the day, though, here, we're really going to have pretty decent weather, maybe some showers into northern Georgia, but really much of the state is going to be dry and hot, so perhaps bring some water with you if you're going out. And as we look westbound here, little snow and some unsettled weather in the northwest, but otherwise it is going to stay dry throughout the day for us. Lynette.
All right, time to get a look at your beautiful